Your run to TVC's live coverage of the off-cycle elections in Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa states, where we're bringing you updates live from the feed from about 55 local government areas where election is holding today. Jide Joe is live here with me in our Abuja studio, and Joseph Eva joins us live from our Lagos studio. Gentlemen, thank you for staying the course on the program this morning. You heard the governor earlier, taking the opportunity to throw jabs at his opponent. That seems to be, one common feature in election. How much of impact is that having on the peaceful conduct of polls when we, take every opportunity to blame the other person for the woes in the system?
Well,
or maybe it's part of our politicking.
Yeah, it's part of the politicking, and it's not peculiar to Nigeria. It's a global phenomenon. You want to take maximum opportunity. Finger pointing is part of the game. Even when you are sometimes it's even the person who committed the crime that will be pointed at another, just to distract and deflect attention from himself. But it's a pitiable situation and very condemnable that we have a situation where an annex staff has been abducted. We don't know what has happened, whether it's been released. We also very unfortunate instance of the boat that capsized, where 12 people were rescued. Luckily, no life was lost, but election materials were lost to that incident. INEC is looking at how to possibly replace and maybe do. It tells you about the risk of conducting elections. Just imagine if those people don't have life jackets and the boat they were traveling in capsized. We could have been talking of fatalities at this point. So the Nembe issue, I mentioned Nembe earlier. It's been a recurring decimal. Nembe, Southern Nigeria, had always been very sticky. Even not in previous electoral cycles. I recall that the election that brought in the second election that brought in a countryman governor, Seriake Dixon. Election could not be concluded on the first ballot because of violence in Southern Nigeria and in Nimbe. And INEC had to go back to conduct supplementary election in those two local governments. So it's been
notorious for...
It's very notorious.
Hold that thought for a minute, Mr. Ojo. Let's get back to the field. Bayelsa and Kogi State. Joseph Kunde is standing by in Bayelsa, and we also have Ademola Lawrence in Kogi. Let's find out what's happening there. Ademola, what's the situation where you are at this time? Joseph, where are you now, and what's the situation report?
Currently at the rack in Okpoma, Grass local government area, and about this time still I can tell you that the materials are very much here. None of them are at the PUs. The PUs and other INEC staff are right here. They're all waiting for security agencies to come. But the twist is, not really much of a twist, but a form of encouragement is, remember while we were talking, I said that there's a level of local vigilante in the town, and then what they are doing is complementing the efforts of the security agencies. They are also here, and they are waiting for the security agents to come so that they can all move around together. I have with me right now the vice chairman of the security, the vigilante here, and then I understand based on what you said yesterday, but have you been able to contact the agents to ensure that they are here, or you're still going to wait for them because the election needs to go on?
Yeah, actually, we are waiting for them. We have not seen them. And that is why the Ibekoko, the internal security, is here to observe where the materials are going to the various polling units. But we have not seen them, but we are still around to observe what is happening here.
Well, as you heard from him, they are yet to be here, and that only means one thing. Aside from the fact that the sensitive materials are yet to get to the PUs, every other thing has been calm. There hasn't been any reports of any form of insecurity. You can see the materials right behind me, all labeled, all it has been sorted out, all prepped, and everybody is just eager. The INEC ad hoc staff, they like to call themselves the staff. They say they shouldn't be called ad hoc. They are very much around as well. Everybody is eager, and then they're just just waiting for the security agents to come through so that they can escort the materials to where it's supposed to be. Nifemi.
Joseph, where exactly are you? And does this mean that election is yet to begin in Brass?
Yes, particularly in Okpoma, election is yet to begin. That is where I'm talking to you from. The other areas in Atuambras, they've actually kick-started theirs a little bit earlier, about 5 minutes ago. But this one in this rack center in Isilima, in Okpoma Bras, there's nothing happening yet.
So if election officers and the materials are also available, what exactly is causing the delay?
Based on the guidelines of the election, they are supposed to have security agents around the area before these things can go on. That's the reason why they are waiting, because they've been told that they have to wait, and that is why they've been waiting for well over 30. In fact, we got here about 1 hour ago, and then everybody has been waiting for the security agents to be here. We heard they're around, but we haven't seen any sign of them yet here.
It's 6 minutes past 9. Hold on, I'll be back with you shortly. Let's find out what's happening in Kogi, where Ademola Lawrence is standing by. Ademola, elections are yet to begin in Brass. They're expecting security operatives. What's the situation where you are?
Okay, Ifemi, election has actually commenced here at Ida local government in Igala Uba, precisely, polling unit 2. But one of the things that is also happening here is the fact that there's a bit of confusion where the people have actually identified a fake agent who came in the midst and actually moved to where the people will actually vote. A fake agent and a fake election observer. They identified him, and immediately the security agencies there were able to pull the two of them out. But as it is now, the people are ready to cast their votes. And one of the things that is also happening is that the elderly ones are actually given the priority here at this particular polling unit, and everything seems to be normal, just not until of recent when that particular confusion happened, when the fake agent and the fake electoral monitor came into the scene.
So what happened to the fake agent and observer? Were they arrested or they were just asked to leave?
So the security agencies just pulled them out. I've not been able to see them after them because I had to come in front of the camera, but there were actually, two of them were actually pulled out. Of course, they would eventually be arrested, taken to the police station. But one of the things that is also very interesting in this particular election, while coming down to this place, is that the security is very tight. The roadblocks, I must tell you, are very tight. One of the things that I also noticed was that while approaching the security checkpoints, even the police were also checked. You know, the soldiers who are at the checkpoints, they will tell the policemen to come down, and they will also check the vehicles. You know, not just civilians. You know, so, and that is very commendable, I must say. You know, very commendable for them to do their thorough job. So everybody just moving one after the other, and that is one of the things that is indeed very interesting about this particular election in Kogi State.
I'm just wondering who checks the soldiers, you know, when the soldiers check the police. But
you know the soldiers are the ones who are the checkpoints.
Okay.
So it is very normal for them to check everybody.
All right.
You know, so I think it's a very good one.
So you mentioned that election is ongoing. When did the election officials and materials arrived at this? When did election officials and materials arrive at this polling unit, and when exactly did voting commence?
Okay, election materials arrived at exactly 7:30, in some of the polling units that I visited, especially even this one, and I think it's improvement from what we have known before. Of course, INEC has improved on the logistics compared to what we used to have before. In the Secretary General election, you know, people also complain about logistics, but it's indeed a good one that there's an improvement from that. And election started at about 8 a.m. on dots. As a matter of fact, when I was in Ofu local government, they were waiting. The people were actually waiting that the election just started. After accreditation, people were already on the queue, and they were just waiting for 8 a.m. to just on dot so that the election can commence. So I think to a large extent, what we are seeing, logistics, on point, and the people coordinating themselves so far. We just have to wait till after the election is rounding up by 2 p.m. or so.
How well is the Beavers machine working, and how long is the process taking for each voter where you are?
Yeah, so that's one of the challenges that we're still facing, most especially when it has to come to the elderly ones. They're still finding it very difficult to actually accredit them. But it takes time, one after the other. One of the things that I also noticed in this particular election, they take your voter's card, they scan the barcode, and because I had to ask the presiding officer, why are you doing this? He said that's what they have to do this time around. They take the voter's card, they scan the barcode. When they scan the barcode, when it accredits that part, they scan your hand. Some of them that the hand can be accredited, they use the face. So I think the process is getting a bit smoother and smoother. But in terms of trying to use the beavers, it's still a bit slow, but they are getting there one step after the other.
Let's turn to Bayelsa, where we're also monitoring development there. It seems that there are activities behind you right now. Joseph, what's the update?
Well, yes, they've started moving. I think maybe they heard from us while we were talking, and not quite about 5 minutes afterwards, they came around. So I had to come out so that you could see firsthand what's happening behind me. Well, party agents are here. Observers are also here, of course, and the security agents are beginning to take the materials to the polling unit. We have about 18 of them in this particular area in the Seleama, in Okpoma Bras. So they are being taken away from them. And people were a little bit agitated, obviously, and I wouldn't blame them, because if they don't take these things down to the PUs, I don't know how long it's going to be able to have these persons to vote. Remember that voting officially ends about 2 o'clock in the afternoon today, so they are all really being agitated. But the good news is, yes, it is now coming through for them. About 2 PUs have already left here, PU1 and PU16. So who knows what's going to be happening to the other ones after now.
What number of PUs are we looking at are still pending as we speak, Joseph?
We have a total number of 18, but 2 has already left, so it means we have 16 left.
16 left. Interesting development at 12 minutes past 9. Can you confirm if security operatives are there now?
In fact, what they did is, for the ones that they took the materials away, that was because the agents that was responsible for that particular unit came around. So the way I'm seeing it, it depends on the number of agents that would come, that will determine the materials that will be leaving the rack to the PUs. That's why they are still having a bit of a snail step, and of course some busy activities right behind me over here. You could see that they are still waiting, and some people are even raising their voices. The core members are also there, but their voices are pretty low. Of course, you know the reason why their voices are low, but for the other ones, they are just waiting to hit that clearance from inside there. Especially, you know, when you have party agents and all, they would always want to protect the interest of their party.
Help us understand the process of moving materials and officials from this location to the respective polling units. Joseph, what is the process? What is the process like of moving officials and materials from where you are to the different polling units? All right, we'll get back to Joseph. Ademola, quickly, talk to us about the security presence. You mentioned that it's tight across the state, but what's security presence like at the polling unit?
Yeah, the security presence at the polling unit is also very tight. As a matter of fact, that even also trying to manage the situation, as I'm talking to you, there's a bit of confusion in this particular polling unit. I think they are just identifying different fake agents at this particular polling unit. So the people can actually recognize that some of these people are not part of the electoral process in terms of accredited agents, accredited electoral monitors. So they just identify another person not too long. So this polling unit is a very interesting one as event unfolds. If my cameraman can also pan, we can also see the see how people are actually seated. These women, they're actually seated. They are patiently waiting, to perform their civic duty. Most of them aged, of course, but they are patiently waiting to perform their civic duty.
Does it look like more people are voting from the last time we spoke? Because there are still quite a number of people behind you. You mentioned that there were issues with the BVAS machine earlier. What's the update with that? How long is it taking each voter to actually cast their votes?
So this polling unit is like 1,235 registered voters. So it's going to take a long time to actually get these people accredited and voting eventually. For each person, what I've noticed, it takes them almost like 3 to 4 minutes before they get accredited and voting. So it's a slow process, but the BVAS is accrediting them one after the other. Compared to the last time we spoke, I think it's now getting faster a bit. But these polling units, you have quite a lot of registered voters that will eventually get accredited and vote.
Keep an eye on development in Ida. Hopefully, they don't find more fake or imposters, or maybe fake voters this time. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with more for you on the off-cycle elections. Stay with us.